Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityurma amritam gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, lead us from the unreal to the real. Lead us from darkness unto light. Lead us from death to immortality. Om, peace, peace, peace. Namaste and good morning everybody and welcome. Welcome, yes. So this is technically the second session. We had a session last night, but this is a session on the main theme of the retreat, which is a selection from the classic Advaita Vedanta text, Vivekachudamani. When you enter the manor house here, you will see there these beautiful little flyers about Ridgely. And on the very front of that flyer, there's a picture of Swami Vivekananda and a quote from Swami Vivekananda. My mission in life can be put in a few words. That is to preach unto mankind their divinity and how to make it manifest in every movement of life. More profound words were probably never uttered. The more I study Vedanta, the more I plunge into spiritual life, I find he has said everything that there has to be said in those words. What we will do here in a more narrow and focused way is exactly that. To discover our own divinity. What does it mean? Discover it. Investigate it, discover it. And then the second part of it, to get benefit from it, to manifest it in every movement of life. That means to get benefit first and foremost for ourselves. And be a blessing to others also. So this is the theme, what Vivekananda said, my mission in life is exactly what we are doing here, but in a more focused and narrow way here. Advaita Vedanta, the message of Advaita Vedanta is simple and direct. You are Brahman. You are the infinite existence consciousness bliss. One without a second. And if we are that immediately solves all problems. If you look at it that way, if I am Brahman, I cannot die. I don't get old. Indeed, I'm not born. How can I die? The immortal existence consciousness bliss is not born. I am not subject to misery. I'm not subject to unhappiness. I'm not subject even to seeking for pleasure and feeling the sense of emptiness without, pleasure or fulfillment. There is nothing that I need. I'm ever fulfilled. Not in the sense of being bored, nothing more to do. No, I'm ever fulfilled. If that's true, even if it is true, it still doesn't work unless I can know it and experience it for myself. So that is what Advaita Vedanta claims to do for us. It is the last word in spirituality. I don't know of anything higher. In all my studies of religion, philosophy, theology, in the East and the West, I haven't come across anything more magnificent. And there is testimony to this by scholars and sages throughout the ages. Oh, that rhymed. Schopenhauer, Arthur Schopenhauer, he says that I consider no study in the world so beneficial as the study of this book, the Upanishads. He read a translation. A Latin translation of a Persian translation of the Sanskrit original. Somebody wrote, it's only the lynx, L-Y-N-X, lynx-like intelligence of Schopenhauer who could ferret out the inner meaning from that multiply translated text, very difficult text. He says, no, there's no study in the world as beneficial as the study of this book, except perhaps the original, he says. Which he didn't read the original. And then he says, these Upanishads are the solace of my life and will be the solace of my death. I just read yesterday, Karl Jaspers, who was one of the leading philosophers of the 20th century. He said, I think to T.R.V. Murthy, there is no metaphysics in the world superior to that of Shankara. So, we are studying here the final word. Beyond this lies only enlightenment, nothing more. In fact, from an Advaita Vedanta perspective, and I'm fully convinced of this, all our spiritual striving and practice, it is all meant to bring us to this point. All our practice of a moral life, dharma, all our search for God in meditation, dhyana, all our devotion, faith, worship in God, bhakti, all of this is supposed to culminate in this realization through the path of knowledge. This is the classic Advaita Vedanta formulation. So let us attend to it with that degree of alertness and seriousness and focus. We have time, not too much, but not too little either. We have 2 hours now, 2 hours in the afternoon, and again 2 hours in the morning tomorrow, a total of about 6 hours. What we will do in these 6 hours is one thing and one thing only: nididhyasana, Vedantic non-dual meditation. Non-dual meditation. We know the method of Vedanta. What are we supposed to do in Vedanta, in Advaita Vedanta? Is Shravana Manana Nididhyasana. Listening, reasoning, meditating. Listening, reasoning, meditating is the way to enlightenment. It is practice. Many people think it's sort of theoretical, like attending classes in the university, and then you have to get down to it and do something else afterwards. No. It doesn't get more practical than this. In fact, all practice is supposed to lead to this. So listening. And all of these have details, profound depths to it. What is listening? There's a way to do that. There's a system about that. We will not go into all that. I'm just giving you the bird's eye view of it. Listening will... So what does, technically speaking, what do these 3 things do in Advaita Vedanta? Listening, reasoning, meditating. They are meant for answering 3 questions. Listening, reasoning, meditating answers 3 different questions. First question: what do these texts teach? The Upanishads, the Bhagavad Gita, the Brahma Sutra, and all the texts which follow after that in Advaita Vedanta, what do they teach? Do they teach the non-dual Brahman? Do they teach a God to be worshipped? What? So the question is, technically it is called Pramanagata Samshaya, a doubt about the source of knowledge. And that is removed by listening. Listening includes systematically studying all the texts, mastering the texts. It's a long process. Don't worry, we have been doing it for a long time. Many of you, some have been engaged in it before I was born. So we have been studying, we have been hearing this. We have been studying it, reading, hearing. Nowadays watching talks on YouTube and so on and so forth. So listening removes the doubt about what is the teaching. Now we know what the teaching is. What is the teaching? You are that. Tattvamasi. Then the next question is, how is this possible? I am born and I will die. I'm quite clear about that. How am I immortal? I'm a physical body. How am I consciousness? Limitless being consciousness. Whatever does that mean even? So these questions, these have to be answered and clarified. That comes in the second stage. This is the question, technically it is called asambhavana, impossibility. The teachings, I understand. You are saying I am that. I am non-dual Brahman. I am limitless being. I am limitless consciousness. I am self-fulfilled already. Satchit Ananda. I understand that. That's the teaching. But I don't see how. It does not seem to match with my experience. It does not seem to match at all with my present understanding of myself. So these questions have to be answered. And that is answered in the second stage, reasoning. Mananam. Technically what? What is that? Asambhavana. The impossibility question. It's impossible what is being taught here. And then what happens is the third stage. The third stage is, I have now understood what is being taught and clarity also has dawned. I'm sold. I get it. But it's still not a living reality for me. I still continue to think and speak and behave just like the same old guy, as the Americans would say. You're the same dude. After all that non-dual metaphysics, you're still the same dude. How do I not remain the same dude? How do I transform myself into the goal of all of this, Jivan Mukta, liberated while living? How? So to make this understanding, which has already been gained, this knowledge and understanding, make it a living reality, capable of transforming us into Jivan Mukta, and living in this world as a free person, enlightened being, meditation, non-dual meditation. But technically, what is the question asked here? Viparita bhavana. Viparita bhavana means contrary tendencies. The tendency of behaving as a physical body, tendency of behaving as an individual person, a jiva. That has to be transformed into Jivan Mukta. That I, Brahman, living in and through this body. So that is achieved by non-dual meditation. How do I know my Shravana is complete, my hearing is complete? When I have quite the confidence that I know what these texts teach. They're all telling me I am Brahman. Now you might say, okay, I know it now. I don't have to read all the texts. But then when we are confronted with the texts, we should be able to arrange it and sort it out and see how the texts are telling me I am Brahman. So it requires actually a thorough study and a great deal of mastery over the texts. So my Shravana, hearing, is complete when I have clarity. The texts are telling me I am Brahman. The message, I know the message now. My reasoning, when is it complete? Mananam, when all the doubts and questions are resolved, answered to my satisfaction. When I am not shaken by new arguments. When I know what is the problem. When the person asks a question, I immediately see where the person is getting stuck, and I can not only not get confused myself, even help resolve the person's question. Arguments, it's not ignoring arguments. You actually understand the arguments and you know how to resolve them. That kind of clarity. Then your reasoning is complete. When the reasoning is complete, hearing and reasoning are complete, we have a deep understanding. A conviction will come then. Not enlightenment yet. Conviction will come then. But to translate that conviction into full-blown what is called Jivan Mukti, freedom while living, the next part has to be completed. Swami Vivekananda called this third part, the non-dual meditation, he called it assimilation. He says, tell yourself again and again, I am he. Not in the sense of hypnotizing yourself into the thinking I am Brahman. Rather, he says it is dehypnotization. It's already a fact, but we have hypnotized ourselves into believing it's not so. So that process of dehypnotization, Vivekananda emphasized this again and again. Assimilation of what has been taught, heard and understood, already understood. That is the process of nididhyasana, non-dual meditation. That is what we are going to embark upon. I'm assuming some amount of at least hearing and reasoning, that is some amount of clarity. You might say that might not be true. It's true, it might not be true. But no one here is a beginner. At least I'm not seeing anybody tentatively raising a hand. Me? No one here is a beginner. So we have the general tenor of these thoughts. The general idea is clear to us. And it's very important. There's a word called Shraddha. We have a certain faith in this. We would like it to be true. That's important. We like these teachings. We hope it is true. And we believe in the tradition of the teaching lineage, the spiritual masters throughout the ages who have realized this. It is possible to realize this. People have realized it. People have attained deep, lasting fulfillment through all this. We are quite certain about that. That helps. That helps. That helps more than any amount of scholarship. So that's the background. What does Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana do? What Vivekananda said. Discovery of our own divinity and how to manifest it in every movement of life. Especially notice The question about nididhyasana, why is Vedantic meditation necessary? Because I understand it, I am convinced about it, but I can't live it, I can't manifest it. So how to manifest it, how to live it in life, manifest it in life, exactly Vivekananda's words. How to manifest it in every movement of life. What Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, hearing, reasoning and non-dual meditation, what do they accomplish? What Vivekananda said, discovery of the divinity within us and manifesting it in every movement of life. That's the first sentence in the flyer of Ridgely Manor here. That's what we're going to do, but we're going to focus on the last part of it, the non-dual meditation. Now it might strike us, and you would be right, that the non-dual meditation will work only if we have Shravana and Manana beforehand. Only if we have a sense of what Vedanta is saying and we have some clarity upon it. It's like this. If I point out this piece of paper to you, here, look at this piece of paper. Now attend to it, focus on it, keep your attention on it. That focusing, keeping your attention is the meditation part of it. But unless we have seen the piece of paper earlier, so it's like that. Non-dual meditation. For this, I have selected 10 verses from a text of Advaita Vedanta, a very beloved text of Advaita Vedanta, which is Vivekachudamani. It's written by Adi Shankaracharya about 1200-1300 years ago. It's a major work in Advaita Vedanta, a very beloved work. Anybody who studies Advaita Vedanta will at some point or the other encounter it. I remember the first book in Sanskrit of Advaita Vedanta, a full book which I studied or was taught, was Vivekachudamani. As a brahmachari, we used to sit on the sun-drenched roof of the monastery in Deoghar, now in Jharkhand. And Swami Suhitanandaji Maharaj, who is now the Vice President of the Order, he would teach us, all were newcomers. We'd sit on a mat on the roof after breakfast. For 1 hour he'd teach us. One of the texts was Vivekachudamani. I didn't understand much. I just listened. I liked it, what I was hearing, but I really didn't understand much. That is the first and only time when I read it completely. But otherwise, I have gone back to it again and again, like this time, in bits and pieces and parts. Just a word here about authorship, because if you read Vivekachudamani, you read introductions, articles about it, you will find there's a doubt whether Adi Shankaracharya wrote it or not. For certain reasons, there's a doubt. For example, the style of writing is one reason. The focus on meditation is another reason. The focus on Brahman as bliss is another reason. These are things which are not seen in the vast corpus of Adi Shankaracharya's writings. So some modern scholars are of the opinion that it was written by a Shankaracharya afterwards, one of the successors of Adi Shankaracharya. Possibly. Though if you ask the traditional lineage of teachers, they will all, they have no doubt at all that it was written by Adi Shankaracharya. So when you study it under a pandit or a monk in any of the traditional schools of learning, they will always say it is a work of Adi Shankaracharya. And in the books which are published also you will see Shankaracharya. We don't lose anything, because the important point is Advaita Vedanta is not accepted on the authority of Shankaracharya. Advaita Vedanta does not depend upon who said it. It depends upon whether it works for you and you come to enlightenment. And the Vivekachudamani certainly does work. It's a very powerful text. So even if it was written by somebody else afterwards, it was highly regarded by Vivekananda. I think Turiyanandaji translated it, the Vivekachudamani. Later it was translated again by Madhavanandaji, if I'm not wrong. Yes. So on. So we have selected 10 verses from this Vivekachudamani, where Shankaracharya gives 10 verses for non-dual meditation. Beautiful, solemn. Remember, one beauty of the Advaita Vedanta is always tells you just that one thing, nothing else. It's just telling you one thing. You are that, Tattvamasi. And in fact, in these 10 verses, Shankaracharya actually repeats that Tattvamasi 10 times. Each verse ends with Brahma Tattvamasi Bhavaya Atmani. You are Brahman, that thou art. You are that what? Brahman. So, what do I do? Bhavaya Atmani. In your mind, meditate upon it. This bhavana means meditation. Here it means nididhyasana, Vedantic non-dual meditation. 10 times he will say this. Each verse has 4 lines. The first 3 lines tell you what Brahman is. And you will notice there it doesn't actually. It tells you what Brahman is not. So the first 3 lines do this. They point out the paper to you. Here, look at the paper. The last line tells you, keep looking at it. So the first 3 lines will point out the paper, the Brahman to you. And then the last line tells you again, that attend to it. So this is, these are the 10 verses. Beautiful. Shankaracharya and other Vedantic masters have given multiple methods of non-dual meditation in other texts. In Aparoksha Anubhuti, there are 15 methods of non-dual meditation. In Drigdrishya Viveka, there are 6 methods of non-dual meditation. Here we find 10. Each verse, by the way, it's not a complete meditation system. Each verse by itself is complete. It's not that you have to read all 10 and then only I can practice it. Each verse is complete. Each verse is a gateway to enlightenment. Settle down, stay with any one of them, it will work. And this is a good place to do that, Ridgely. This is something most beloved to Vivekananda, the doctrine of the Atman, the teaching that you are the Atman. Most beloved. This is what Vivekananda would have meditated, among the things, would have meditated upon at the highest possible level. That's why you find this vibration in here, in this, on the grounds, and especially in the shrine there. So exactly what Vivekananda did, which is why this place is so important. One of the reasons, but the central reason why this place is important. It is full of the vibrations of the Atman. That's what we will do. We will partake in this great experience. Now, what we will do now, 4 things. 1, we haven't started yet. This is all the introduction. All right, this is sort of orientation. Now, what we will do is, first let's listen to those. We will listen to those 10 verses. You have a nice booklet in your hand which gives you those 10 verses. And by the way, at the end is the schedule for these 2 days, 2.5 days. 2 days actually. 2 half days and 1 full day. So you have the schedule. And before that, you have the 10 verses starting from verse number 254 and ending with 63. It ends with 63. 64 is also there. That's a bonus. But we'll go up to 63. 10 verses. And you have the original Sanskrit. You have the English transliteration. The transliteration in the Roman script will help those who cannot read the Sanskrit. It will help you to follow the chanting. We will listen to the chanting soon. It will help you to follow the chanting and the English translation. So first we will listen to the chant. If you want, you can follow. But once or twice you can read it later on, after the class or in the evening. But when the chant is played, it's much better to let it wash over you. Remember, you're not missing much, even if you don't read the translation. All it tells you is you are that. There was one doctor in California with Swami Vivekananda, with other devotees, and every time Vivekananda would come down for breakfast, the doctor would be there, other devotees would be there, and this doctor was an elderly man and also a very simple man. After listening to all the Vedantic talk, he would ask in eagerly and with some tension, "But Swami, I am Brahman, aren't I?" And Swamiji would say, "Yes, Doki." He would call him Doki. "Yes, Doki, you are Brahman." That's all these 10 verses are telling us. Don't worry. Don't be tense. What am I missing? And in any case, it's all talking about you. You're not missing any. You are yourself, right? So you can tell them, Shankaracharya, what he is missing about you. So we listen to the chanting. Then, perhaps the most important section of the entire retreat, I'll hand you a key. There'll be a short exercise. It's the key. Please attend with great care, relaxation. Don't be tense. You have to be relaxed. Listen carefully, attend to it. It is basically showing you the paper. I'll show it to you. If you can see it and catch it, done. The rest of it will be relaxation. You will just be, rest of it is just looking at the paper. It's like this. I heard something that I've been repeating often recently. One sadhu in India, he put it this way. Vedanta, you have to be a little childlike in Vedanta. When you ask a child, what is a nose? The child will not say a nose is the respiratory organ or the nose is the olfactory organ. That's words. That's words in exchange for more words. What a child does is, what's a nose? This one. Nose is this. Directly points to it in reality. I want us to do that. What it's going to talk about is available to us not as physically as the nose, but available to us very easily. Just it's hidden a little bit. Just a little bit. So I'll point that out. If we can catch it, nose, then the rest of it is easy. It's all about the nose. Not nose, about Brahman. So that will be the second part. First the chanting, then the second part will be the pointing out. Once it's pointed out, then we will take up the verses one by one. You don't even have to complete it. We probably won't be able to complete all 10, but we'll just go through it in sequence. And then the last part will be a Q&A. All right. Now let us listen to these beautiful verses, very poetic, very profound, very majestic. And somebody said, Shankara's writings are a grand monotony. Grand monotony means it's the highest message again and again and again. You are the limitless, you are the infinite, you are pure being, you are pure consciousness, you are immortal, forever beyond sorrow, without a second. Same thing, again and again and again. All right. You have two options. You can either follow directly on the booklet, or you can just sit quietly and listen. It was chanted by a monk, one Swami Brahmananda. I think he belonged to the Divine Life Society long ago. Yes, please.
जाति नीति कुल गोत्र दूरगम नाम रूप गुण दोष वर्जितम् देश काल विषयातिवर्ति यद् ब्रह्म तत्त्वमसि भावयात्मनि यत्पदं सकलभागगोचरम् गोचरं विमलबोधचक्षुषः शुद्धचिद्घनमनादिवस्तु यद् ब्रह्मतत्त्वमसि भावयात्मनि षड्भिरोर्निधिरयोगि योगिहृद् भावितं न करणैर्विभावितम् बुद्ध्यवेद्यमनवद्यमस्ति यद् ब्रह्मतत्त्वमसि भावयात्मनि भ्रान्तिकल्पितजगत्कलाश्रयम् स्वाश्रयं च सदसद्विलक्षणम् निष्कलं निरुपमानवद्धि यद् ब्रह्मतत्त्वमसि भावयात्मनि जन्मवृद्धिपरिणत्यपक्षया व्याधिनाशनविहीनमव्ययम् विश्वसृष्ट्यवविघातकारणम् ब्रह्मतत्त्वमसि भावयात्मनि हस्तभेदमनपास्तलक्षणम् निस्तरङ्गजलराशिनिश्चलम् नित्यमुक्तमविभक्तमव्ययम् ब्रह्मतत्त्वमसि भावयात्मनि एकमेव सदनेककारणम् कारणान्तरनिरास्य कारणम् कार्यकारणविलक्षणं स्वयम् ब्रह्मतत्त्वमसि भावयात्मनि निर्विकल्पकमनल्पमक्षरम् यक्षराक्षरविलक्षणं परम् नित्यमव्ययसुखं निरञ्जनम् ब्रह्मतत्त्वमसि भावयात्मनि यद्विभाति सदनेकधा भ्रमात् नामरूपगुणविक्रियात्मना हेमवत् स्वयमविक्रियं सदा ब्रह्मतत्त्वमसि भावयात्मनि यच्च कास्त्यन परं परात्परम् प्रत्यगेकरसमात्मलक्षणम् सत्यचित्सुखमनन्तमव्ययम् ब्रह्मतत्त्वमसि भावयात्मनि ब्रह्मतत्त्वमसि भावयात्मनि
Very beautiful. Now, pointing out the paper, pointing out the nose. Huh? Listen carefully. In all our experiences, after all, life is a series of experiences. In all our experiences, there is consciousness. After all, without consciousness, experience is not possible. What is experience after all? Consciousness plus something that we are conscious of. Consciousness plus object is experience. So all our experiences, good, bad, early childhood, babyhood, things we remember, things we do not remember, experiences ahead of us, all will be the various experiences, stream of experiences. But there's always consciousness there. There was a genre of literature, stream of consciousness literature. Vedanta would say that's a stream of experiences. Consciousness is not a stream. Why is then there is a stream of experiences if consciousness is not a stream? Because there's a stream of objects. Objects keep changing, giving rise to different experiences. But consciousness is not a stream, it does not change. So there is consciousness everywhere, in all our experiences. Let's go a little deeper into that. Always attend to it, look back into our own experience and mentally checklist. Yes, check, yes, that's true. It should always be of the form, knows, not theoretical. No, this is not speculative. This is just pointing out what is. As long as we can stay with that what is, Vedanta will be very easy. Indeed, enlightenment will at least bring you to the very edge of enlightenment. Beyond that, a little bit of grace is necessary. A little push from the Divine Mother is necessary. But unto the edge, very edge. I'll leave you with the very dangerous feeling of I am enlightened. All right, let's go deeper into that. That in all our experiences, there is consciousness. When we see things, we are conscious. Right now we are seeing. Check, am I conscious? You better be. Yes, I am. If you are seeing, you are conscious. No matter what we are seeing, we are conscious. No matter what we are hearing, we are conscious. No matter what we smell, taste, touch, we are conscious. In all our perceptions, how varied, how different it is to see the morning sky and the star-studded sky at night, last night. And yet the consciousness, you are conscious now, you're conscious then. Even time, now, then, you're conscious. Not just all perceptions, but all actions. Right now we are sitting. Before this we were walking. Before that we were eating. And while eating we were conscious. I'm not saying that you're conscious of what you're eating. You might be attending to other things. You might be quite forgetful. Someone might be eating with mindfulness. Someone might be eating without even remembering what I ate. Utterly mindless about it. But the point is, so mindless, I saw this cartoon, very nice. Somebody said, oh, Prakyat sent it to me, a cartoon. And in that, the Buddhist master is telling the student, I have never met anyone as mindless as you. Congratulations. The student says, thank you, master. Yes, keep up the good work. I've never met anyone as mindless as you. So, whether we are mindful or mindless, even when you're mindless, you're conscious. You can't say that there was no consciousness there at all. So, when we are eating, and when we are walking, and talking, sitting, you're conscious. In all actions, we are conscious, because consciousness is there. The same consciousness which enabled all perceptions is the same consciousness revealing all activities. Not only that, at a more subtle level, all our thoughts, inwardly, the thoughts which come, whatever we are thinking about, the ideas we have got, Vedantic, I like this, oh, I don't get it, what is he saying? Conscious, always consciousness is there. Now you might think, all this is unnecessary detail. No. The detail is not important. What is important is drawing our attention to consciousness, becoming aware of awareness. Use the words awareness, consciousness indistinguishably. Remember, here we are not interested in drawing linguistic distinctions. We are not investigating language, interpretation. No, not at all. The Bengali word for nose is nak. The English word for nose is nose. But when I hold on to this, I'm not interested in nose or nak. I'm interested in this. That's what I want us to settle down upon. To be aware of awareness. In all perceptions, with the five senses. In all actions, with our body, hands, feet, with our tongue, whatever actions we are doing. In all thoughts, ideas, memories. Conscious. These are conscious experiences. In all emotions, you're feeling good, you're not feeling good, happy, unhappy, miserable, delighted, interested, bored, conscious. In all our waking, in our dreaming, indeed in our deep sleep, consciousness is there. What it's like, this waking, dreaming, deep sleep. The Mandukya Upanishad says, contact with external objects with our sense organs is what is defined as waking. As simple as that. It's just a rough way of pointing out the waking. When the external organs shut down, we do not think we are in contact with an external world. We enter into a world of dreams in our mind that is called dreaming. When the mind also shuts down, no contact with the world through sense organs, no dreaming in the mind, just shut down, blank, that's what we call deep sleep. Try it now, a simulation. Here we are with eyes open, ears open, listening, seeing. This is waking. Label it, waking. Now gently close your eyes. I do not see anything. Imagine for a moment you are not hearing, touching, smelling, tasting. But there's an internal world of feelings and sensations, and not sensations, feelings, and memories, images, words. This is equivalent to the dream state. Now if I purge, visualize or mental experiment that I have purged my mind of all thoughts, sensations, perceptions, judgments, memories, ideas, emotions, just blank, even the sense of ego. Nothing. That's deep sleep. Gently open your eyes. The question is, when in that waking state, were you there? Were you there in the waking state? Yes. And some are difficult to summon back from deep sleep. So in the waking state, were you there? Yes. When you simulated the dream state with your eyes closed, no external contact, were you there? Yes. And the utter blankness. I know it is not a very good simulation of deep sleep, but you were there. You are the witness of that blankness. So that is what I want to show is consciousness is constant. So consciousness is there in our perceptions, in our actions, in all our thoughts, in our emotions, and in all our waking, all our dreams, and all our deep sleep. Consciousness, awareness is always there. What did I know? What did I do just now? I pointed out the nose. Nothing here should be theoretical up to this point. This is all just, it should be, yes. I don't think about it that way, but when you point it out, it seems pretty obvious to me. Now, let us go deeper. If you like, you can close your eyes. Whenever you feel like, close your eyes. Sit sort of straight, don't be rigid at all. Be as relaxed as possible, as natural as possible. Don't be rigid. If at any point you feel a sneeze or a cough coming, you want to fidget a little bit, do it. Don't be tight. Be relaxed. What we will do now is, we will narrow down our attention to consciousness itself, to awareness itself. And I will point out, we will notice, we will attend to some features of consciousness, some interesting aspects of consciousness. This consciousness, notice, it's always there. It is continuous. Whether waking, dreaming, sleeping, whether seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, whether thinking, feeling, whether doing things or not doing anything, whether sitting, standing, walking, running, consciousness is always there. There is no break in consciousness. This consciousness which is always there, this is called in Sanskrit nirantaram, without break. Now, further, notice again. The consciousness is always the same, it does not change. Always there and not changing, these are two different things. A river may always be there. You sit on the bank of a river, you see the river is flowing, it's always there. But it's changing every moment. New water is flowing through it every moment. But consciousness is not like that. Not only it's there all the time, but it's always the same. It does not change. It is continuous and changeless. One might think, no, that's not true. My consciousness changes from waking to dreaming. That's the mind. My consciousness changes. I'm more conscious and less conscious. That's the mind. Consciousness is constant, unchanging. In Sanskrit, nirvikara. Further, because it is constant and unchanging in all our experiences, this consciousness, it is unaffected by our experiences. It experiences so many objects. Indeed, everything in the universe is an object to consciousness. But the objects cannot change consciousness. They cannot harm consciousness. Consciousness is not traumatized by our experiences. Consciousness is not damaged, does not decay by our experiences. The body may be affected. The sense organs may be affected. Our mind certainly is affected. Our emotions are affected. Consciousness is not affected. Whatever we have experienced, whatever we are experiencing now, whatever we will experience ahead of us, consciousness will not be affected, damaged, reduced, decayed or destroyed by these experiences. In Sanskrit, this is called abhyaya. Consciousness is abhyaya. Notice again, consciousness is ever the same everywhere. In every experience, consciousness itself is the same. The experiences are not the same. Some are good experiences, some are bad experiences. But notice, consciousness by itself is not good or bad. Good experience did not make the consciousness good. A bad experience did not make the consciousness bad. Neither happy nor sad. Neither healthy nor unhealthy. Consciousness is ever the same in health and sickness, in happiness and sadness, in good and the bad, in understanding, comprehension and incomprehension. Consciousness is the same. Samaha, Sanskrit. It is the same consciousness then in the minds of all beings. If consciousness is ever the same, then the consciousness which lights up the minds of all other beings is exactly the same as the consciousness in this body and mind. Samaha. It is the same at all times. The consciousness is exactly the same in the morning and in the evening and at night. The consciousness is exactly the same in Ridgely, here, in the depths of silence and stillness, and in the midst of Times Square in Manhattan. Notice, as far as consciousness is concerned, is it not the same? It's exactly the same. In Sanskrit, samaha. It is the same in the elephant and in the mosquito. It's the same in human beings, in men and women, in old and young, in ancient times, today and far into the future. It will be the same. It is the sun which neither rises nor sets. It's ever shining, and shining ever the same. Samaha. This consciousness, notice, it's not an object. Everything is an object to consciousness. Everything, everyone, every event is experienced by consciousness, in consciousness. But consciousness itself is not an object. You can never objectify consciousness. Notice that. You can't see it, hear it, smell it, taste it, touch it. You can't speak about it. Swami, you are speaking of it. But notice, it's all speaking negatively. Not this, not this. I'm just saying it is not an object. You can't speak of it. You can't even think about it. All this thinking, but we are thinking, we are meditating on consciousness. But if we look closely, are the thoughts objectifying consciousness, or is consciousness illumining the thoughts? Consciousness is not in front of the thoughts. Consciousness is behind the thoughts. Consciousness is not an object. The body is an object. The mind is an object. Thoughts are objects. Activities are objects. The world is objective. Ideas are objects. But consciousness is not an object. In Sanskrit, this is called avishayaha, not an object. Anidam chaitanyam, the not this consciousness. Everything is a this to consciousness. But consciousness is not a this. But then it brings us to the next startling fact. How is it that consciousness is so obvious to us if it's not an object? If you can't see it, hear it, smell it, taste it, touch it, if you can't think about it, speak about it, how can consciousness be so obvious? It is obvious. Everybody agrees we are conscious. How do we know? The only ways of knowing are the sense organs. The only ways of knowing are the mind and intellect. If they cannot objectify consciousness, this very consciousness which we are right now, how do we know that we are conscious? Therefore, we come to the grand conclusion. This consciousness, which we are right now, is not known through any of the instruments of knowledge. Rather, it reveals itself. The self-revealing nature of consciousness, like light. Light lights up a dark room. Everything in the room is seen because of the light. But to see the light, you don't need another light. The light reveals itself to your eyes. But the eyes reveal the whole world. But it's revealed to the mind. But the mind is revealed by consciousness. But consciousness is self-revealed. You don't need another consciousness to know consciousness. This in Sanskrit is called swaprakasha, self-luminous. This consciousness, which you are right now, is self-luminous. It's not known as an object because it is not an object. And yet, it is the most known of all. Swami Vivekananda's words. The most known of all. Now, this consciousness, ever present in all our experiences, continuous, nirantara, unchanging, nirvikara, untraumatized, undamaged, abhyayaha, the same everywhere, samaha, not an object, avishayaha, but self-revealed all the time, swaprakasha. To this consciousness, in this consciousness, appears space, appears time, and indeed all objects. Space, time, objects appear to consciousness in consciousness. Since all space appears in consciousness, consciousness is not limited by space. Hence, consciousness is called all-pervading, sarvavyapi. Since time appears in consciousness, consciousness is not limited in time. Therefore, consciousness is called eternal, nityam. And most amazing of all, since all objects appear in consciousness, consciousness is not limited by objects. That means there is no object which is a limit, an end to consciousness. They are in consciousness. They do not constitute anything different from consciousness. Therefore, since no object is different from consciousness, consciousness is non-dual. In Sanskrit, advayam or advaita. This very consciousness, without arguing too much, because the argument part of it was supposed to be done in Mananam, we'll take it in a simple way. Yes, things appear to me, so I am non-dual with respect to these things. Consciousness is non-dual. Space appears in consciousness. Therefore, consciousness is all-pervasive. Time appears in consciousness. Therefore, consciousness is eternal. Sarvavyapi nitya advaya or advaita. All-pervasive, eternal, non-dual. Even more grand now, quite straightforward. This consciousness is I. I am this consciousness is I. Where else do I see consciousness except in myself? Nowhere else. So I am consciousness. Where else do I see I, the self, except in consciousness? Nowhere else. So I am consciousness, consciousness is I. What is this consciousness? I am. What is this I am? Consciousness. Check. This consciousness, this I am, is indubitable. It is the foundation of all facts. It is to this consciousness, to this I am, that all else is revealed, whether common sense, perceptual, scientific, religious, spiritual, all starting from an humble blade of grass to God is revealed to this I am. Brahmadi stamba paryantam. Starting from the creator Brahma down to the blade of grass, all is revealed to this one consciousness. I am. I am always there, Nirantaram. I am changelessly there, Nirvikaram. I am unaffected by all the vicissitudes of life, Abhyayam. I am the same always, everywhere, and in all things, Samaha. I am not an object, Nirvishayaha, Avishayaha. I am not, therefore, I am not known by anything, yet I am self-revealed, Swaprakasha. I am the very ground of space, time and object, Desha Kala Vastu Aparichinna. Therefore I am eternal, I am all-pervasive, I am non-dual. I am. Even in the I am, notice, the I is what you might call in Sanskrit Chit Pradhana. That means the emphasis is on consciousness. The I is always a shining eye, it's always revealing itself. The am means existence. So I am is consciousness existence. Chit and Sat, or Sat and Chit. And what we have just seen is that this existence consciousness, Chit and Sat, I am, is limitless. All these things which we just saw, continuous, unchanging, unaffected, the same everywhere, not an object, self-luminous, the ground of space, time object, all of it in one word, limitless, infinite. I am infinite. These are literally the words of the Taittiriya Upanishad, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. Existence, awareness, limitless. This is Brahman. Existence, awareness, limitless. This is I. Therefore I am Brahman. Aham Brahmasmi. When? Now and forever. Always was, will, am, now, will be. Where? Here and there and everywhere. I am Brahman. Before enlightenment, during enlightenment, after enlightenment. I am Brahman. Just a couple of more footnotes, let us say, to this exercise. Notice, this I am is continuously available to me, is directly available to me. It does not require the world, it does not require the senses, does not require the body, does not require the mind. It's directly and always available to me. This is called aparoksha. This I am, this pure I am, existence awareness, it's an open secret. It's open because it's always unconditionally, effortlessly, instantly available to me. But secret because of our fascination with objects. There is a layer, as it were, of ignorance, which makes it seem that this is not true. Or even if we hear about it, it's theoretical. Not at all. It's not theoretical. It is in fact the only reality that is all the time. It is what lends reality to our so-called real world. It is in this I am, to this I am, that the world appears, and therefore the world seems real to us. As much as dreams seem real to us when we are dreaming, it's because of our present, the dreamer's present, that the dream world seems real. The dreamer is real, not the dream world. The I am is the reality of everything. That I am, that is Tvam, you. That infinity is Tat, therefore Tat Tvamasi, you are that infinity. Notice the stillness now, here, now. That stillness is appearing to you, the I am. In this I am, the stillness appears. That stillness itself then manifests as this tremendous universe. Again in the I am. Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman. When you're comfortable, you can gently open your eyes. Don't look so serious. The I am is also fun. It is great fun. It is the ultimate security. There's nothing that is ever lost. All that I have done is point out the paper. The nose. Yes. That I am is the nose. If you have an intuition of what we have done till now, the rest of this retreat, the 10 verses of Shankaracharya, will be child's play for you. You'll enjoy it very much. You will keep noticing it and saying, yes, yes, check, true. It's a fact. Not something to be realized, it's already realized. Something to be seen, yes. Yeah, it's quite obvious. Nothing complex at all. It's just you, it's just me. The grandest of all facts, that upon which all things are dependent. This is a good place for these thoughts. It's very congenial. All places are not congenial. The same thing is there, here and in Manhattan, as I said, in Times Square. Try that experiment. Go to Times Square, sit down somewhere in the midst of that chaos and sit quietly, still yourself. If it helps, remember the stillness of Rijli. Center yourself. See the witness, I am there. Notice it's the same I am. Absolutely untouched. Then do an even more difficult exercise. Open your eyes and see Times Square. You see, this whole thing is appearing in the same I am. Not the slightest difference between this and that. In the midst of the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Krishna showed Arjuna that tremendous fact of the I am, the stillness, manifesting as this huge universe. That was the Virata Darshana, 11th chapter. I remember I was in Gangotri about 20 years ago, and I would read day and night Mandukya Karika. I was fascinated. Akhandananda Saraswati's Hindi commentary on Mandukya Karika, the 3rd volume, Advaita Prakarana, the chapter on non-duality. I would read it day and night. It seemed so amazing to me. Something so direct, so powerful, so ultimate. There cannot be anything beyond it. I would, in the evening, no electricity, of course. So you have to go into your cottage in the evening. And then also I would read. I purchased candles from the temple and I made a circle of candles. I would put the book in between and read it. And the monks came to know about it. One monk told me, "Aise mat kijiye Mahatma ji, aankh kharab ho jayegi, or you will ruin your eyes if you do that." Another monk told me, "Din mein padhiye, raat mein dhyan kijiye. Study in daytime, meditate at night." One monk came to search for me in Gangotri, a monk of our order. I've heard that he's here. He's a little skinny. And so they told him, he told me later, in the temple, it seems to see how people keep a watch. It's a small place, basically. It used to be, at least, like a village. Everybody knows what everybody else is doing. He asked about me, and somebody in the temple, a shop near the temple said, "Oh, wo Mahatma ji, that monk who reads a lot." And my friend, the other monk, said, "Yeah, that would be him." Yeah. Now, one day, a monk was telling me, meditate at night, don't read at night. Study in the morning and meditate at night. Then there was another monk sitting at the side who was listening to all this. We were a small group of monks. But this other monk is a very interesting character. He was known as Antenna Baba. Not because he has antenna, but in those days, the new technology was this called this dish antenna, like these parabolic dishes to catch the satellite. Nowadays there is, I think, box for. It's still there. Sometimes you see this to catch the satellite signals. Now what he would do, this monk, we had begging bowls for our food. So this monk, his begging bowl, after eating, he would clean it thoroughly, dry it, and put it on his head like a helmet and cover it with his turban. So people thought that was a dish antenna. You see, dish and antenna. So they would joke that he knows what all is going on in Swargaloka, in the heaven. He catches all that stuff in the dish antenna. But he was a very simple man. Yeah. If we would sit in a chair or a cot, he would always sit on the ground in front of us. He was much older than me. So when he heard this, I was listening, the monks were giving me advice, don't study at night. And he was very humble, so he would never contradict anybody in front of them. After we stepped out of the cottage, he called me and he said, आप ठीक कर रहे हैं, you are doing the right thing. जो आपको उधर समझ में नहीं आवेगा, आपको इधर समझ में आवेगा. What you cannot understand there, he means in the plains of India, you will get it here in Gangotri. So study, you're doing the right thing. Right. So this was the key, the doorway. Pointing out the paper, catching the nose. Every time you think, this is theoretical, this is abstract, it doesn't make sense. Remember, catching the nose. Where did it become theoretical? Go back, step back. Where was it, at which point was it practical? Was the body practical? Is it theoretical or practical? It's practical, it's real. What can be more real? Then go to the breath. Is it theoretical or is it practical or is it real? It's real. Then go subtler, inwards. Go to the thoughts. Ideas, thoughts, seems very abstract, but still there. Clearly it's there. So it's real. Go further inwards. The understanding. The thought itself has two sides. One is a lower kind of thought, which is processing. All kinds of thoughts, ideas, emotions are coming, memories are coming and going. The other one is the higher mind, the intellect, buddhi, which understands, comprehends, grasps. In Sanskrit, nischayatmika antakarana vritti buddhi. The ascertaining capacity of the inner instrument is called intellect. That one, is it a fact? Don't you have, haven't we had experiences? I get it, or I don't get it. That's the buddhi, that's the intellect. Suppose you wipe everything out, like in moments of reverie or deep sleep, or in moments, or if you are in an experience, anesthesia, that blankness, is it a fact or not? Then why is the one to which all these facts appearing and disappearing, why is that not a fact? It's not a fact as an object, that's true. It is that to which all objects are facts. It is a greater fact than all of these objects. It's you. So, do it this way. See where it stopped being a fact and where it became theoretical or vague or confused. No. It should be clear. I'm seeing this, is very clear to me. But that I am the Atman, I am, is clearer than that. When Vivekananda asked Sri Ramakrishna, have you seen God? He said, yes, as clearly as I see you. In fact, even more clearly. Does that mean he had cataracts or he needed glasses? No. But he means God is a greater reality than this. I've also mentioned that example. Anandamayi, who was a great mystic in India in the 20th century. This Bengali lady. I mentioned this earlier. The philosopher, Anindita Balslev, you know. So she told me that she's I think maybe 80, around 80 now. But she told me when she was a teenager, her parents were devotees of Anandamayi, and they used to take her to Anandamayi. And she, of course, would talk to this young girl about God and devotion and all. Now she says, as a teenager, I started reading philosophy. So I'm sure she's not a typical teenager, precocious. And immediately I became skeptical about all this. So one day, she says, I went to Anandamayi in the afternoon. Anandamayi was lying down in what is called a madhura, mat on the ground, mat, choir mat. And she says, so she was a teenager at that time, in her early teens. She said, I stood at the door and I said to Anandamayi Ma, these things you tell me about God and God realization. And from there she said, yes, my child, could be false, right? Need not be true. Then she says, Anandamayi Ma sat up on that mat and said, come here, child. So I went near her and she sit next to me. And then she said, this, you are sitting here and talking to me. Is this real or not? I said, yes, this is real. Then listen, child. God is a greater reality than this. She asked in Bengali, "Ei je tumi boshe acho, eta sotto kina? Is it true?" And the girl said, yes. Tahole Bhagavan er thekeu boro sotto jene rakho. And this lady who became an important philosopher, she's retired now. I still remember, she told me that I knew at that moment she was telling the truth. And all the decades of my life, I have known that she is right. It's just that I can't prove it. All my life has been a struggle to understand that intellectually, philosophically. But I can't do that. I haven't been able to do that. But I know she is right. It's a fact. It's a fact of all facts. All right. At this point, yes, before we go on to, it'll be a good break to ask a question, because now we will go on to the shlokas themselves, verses themselves. Do you have a microphone to ask a question? Use that microphone. There.
Swamiji, in the exercise you just taught us, the barrier I have is up to the intellect part, I can follow what you're asking us to follow. Beyond that, when you say drop it and the blankness, even beyond the intellect, that part is really, because it has to go beyond the mind. What's the trick to do that?
Beyond the mind, going beyond the mind, to be mindless. Alan Watts said, it is so strange that we have to go beyond the mind to come back to our senses. We have to go beyond the mind to come back to our senses. Yes. I can describe to you theoretically, but I can actually do it practically. You can just take a look and then you understand it for yourself. It can be done here. This place has the capacity. There's a booster here. Wi-Fi booster, it's there. So you can use it. We will do it more thoroughly tomorrow. Nidid has an exercise coming up tomorrow, but right now you can try it. Now or in the evening meditation. When you come to the point of the greatest stillness, imagine body is still. Make it as still as possible. The breath is deep and regular. Sensations are at a minimum. No seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching. The world has been purged, it has disappeared. I am not seeing anything or anybody, not hearing. Bodily sensations are neutral. Now imagine all my memories disappear. I can't recollect anything. Nor my past, my childhood, no memories, all the knowledge I had, nothing. Even all Vedanta that I learned, nothing. It's all gone. I can't recollect my own name also. It's all gone. Completely gone, blank. Then all thoughts subside. I don't remember, I do not desire, I do not like or hate. I do not think. There's a deep stillness. Absolutely quiet, still. I remain as the witness of that deep stillness, beyond which there is nothing, no world, no person. I witness the stillness. I am a light illumining this stillness. Now, at once, sharply, drop the stillness and the light. Drop it, let it go. Gently open your eyes. To whatever extent that was accomplished, that final moment of dropping everything, that's like a super stillness then beyond that. That's also an experience. To what or to whom did that experience happen?
That's a thought.
Is that a thought?
Comes back to the mind.
Comes back. The mind is now asking this thought. But at that point, was it a thought? What is a thought? Do this. A, B, C, D, right now. A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are thoughts. But the one which is experiencing those thoughts, now when you do it, it becomes a thought again. But when you are saying A, B, C, D, at that point, something was experiencing A, B, C, D. It's not just A, B, C, D. It's A, B, C, D being experienced by something. Is that a thought? No. Yes. And remember, in that utter stillness, the witness of that utter stillness, it does not require that super fine stillness. It's that same witness now also. That's the question in the Kenopanishad. By what light do we see, hear, smell, taste? By what light are my thoughts lit up? By what light am I able to speak? Do these words emerge? All right. Hold on to the questions. We will now enter. We will start finally. But the rest of it should be simple. At any time you get stuck up, remember, all we are referring to is this consciousness, this awareness, which we did this exercise the last 30 minutes or so. That one. He is not talking about anything beyond that. Let's do the verse number 254. I know questions will come up about the exercise, about Vedanta in general, and about what we will do now. Keep them in mind, and then you can. There will be enough time to ask. Jati niti kula gotra duragam nama rupa guna dosha varjitam desha kala vishayati vartiyat brahma tattvamasi bhavayatmani. So Shankaracharya here, 10 times he will repeat the instruction. You are that. Tattvamasi. That what? Brahma. What is that Brahma? The first 3 lines. In each of these verses, the first 3 lines will tell you what you are. And the way to use these is not to note, oh, he's giving me so much interesting information about myself. Very good. That's a good way. But the real way to use it is this check, check. Oh, yes. Just as we did it. Not theoretically, as a fact. Check. These are ways. So why are we doing this? These are ways of staying with that. Otherwise, we get caught up in a network of sensations and thoughts. The personality. This is utterly impersonal. Personality is an appearance of this impersonal. After all, the word personality means a mask. Persona means mask. It's a mask on what? What is the true face? What is your true face? This one. It's impersonal. The impersonal puts on a mask of personality. So, 10 times he will tell us. Echoing here the instruction of the Chandogya Upanishad. In the Chandogya Upanishad, this teacher, who is the father, tells the student, Uddalakaruni tells Shvetaketu, Tattvamasi, 9 times he's repeated. Shankaracharya does one better, 10 times here. He tells us, you are that. What is that? Jati niti kula gotra duragam. You see the rhythm and poetry of this. Far beyond, transcending jati, caste. Big deal in India. Used to be even more during Shankara's time. Shankara himself is accused of being a casteist. He says the ultimate reality is beyond caste. I think he's utterly subversive of caste. So, casteist. Jati, duragam, far beyond truth is what you are. The truth is far beyond this caste. Here in this country, it makes more sense to say race. Race is at the level of the body. It can have an effect on the mind, but you are not the body or the mind. The body and mind is the mask. Center yourself as the witness consciousness. This I am. Does the I am have a race? No, that's a physical level. Mental level. Does it have a caste? No. Niti. Niti is translated here as creed. It's a good translation. Otherwise, niti is an odd word to use here. Niti here, creed means, it's more understandable here in this country because a good deal of religion, until recently, it was just, I believe in this church or that church, or I changed my church. What happened? I changed my creed. These are the things that I believe in. And I find what they are teaching in that church more acceptable. These are the things that are more acceptable. I like that more. So I changed. I changed my creed. Has nothing ultimately to do with the reality within. You're the witness of all creeds. The presence of a creed, the acceptance of a creed, the absence of the creed, all are equally revealed by you, the one consciousness. Then, kula, family. I belong to such and such family. Again, very important, especially in old civilizations like India or even in Europe. Nobility. I come from such great descent. Luckily, America is a new country that way. So more democratic that way. Kula. No, the reality is beyond nobility of descent, of family. Then gotra, lineage. Duragam, far beyond. The awareness itself, the impersonal awareness itself, check. Does it have anything to do with father, mother? Kate, kanta, koste, putra, kutayata. Shankaracharya sings. Who is your wife? Who is your child? Where have you come from? Where are you going? Think that. Think about that. So, all of these are objects appearing and disappearing in consciousness. Nama rupa guna dosha varjitam. Consciousness itself does not have a name, a form, good qualities or defects. Defects of the body, deformities of the body, disease, old age, wrinkles, pains and aches, body. Where are they? Keep them in the body, not in consciousness. I mentioned earlier one of the ways of making Vedanta practical. Keep things where they belong. जो चीज जहाँ के है उसको वहीं रहने दो. It's not escapism. We're not denying that. In fact, we are being more realistic. Yes, there is old age. Where is the old age? In the body. Yes, it affects the brain. Therefore, it affects the mind also. In the body, in the mind, not in me. I was ever the witness of the young body and fresh mind. I am the witness of the old body and the jaded mind. I am not fresh or jaded. I am in fact always fresh. Yeah. So, dosha. Guna. If I think there are some excellencies of health and youth and beauty and knowledge and refinement, these are at the bodily level, at the mental level. I am transcends all that. Name and form and good qualities and so-called defects, none are denied. Keep them where they belong. That story I like about Ramana Maharshi, about criticism. Somebody wrote an article criticizing him and sent a copy to him. And Ramana Maharshi carefully corrected the grammar and spelling and sent it back to him. And somebody said to him, but Maharshi, he's criticizing you. And Ramana Maharshi looked startled. He said, no, he's criticizing some fellow called Ramana. How can he criticize? I am the I am, which is the same in this Ramana and in that critic also. In his case, the I am is covered over by a screen of ignorance and he's identified with that personality who is the critic of Ramana Maharshi. In this case, the I am is just the light, not even identified with the body and mind, the personality of Ramana Maharshi.
Swami, that is the difference between an enlightened person like Ramana Maharshi and the person who's asking the question. And that's kind of what we feel too, because when we look at people or we come to judgments unnecessarily or whatever, and we don't look at people, and that's the transcendence in a sense, to get to that place where your ego is quietened and you can see
correct.
the other person.
Sri Ramakrishna says that pray to the Lord that I may not see any defects. Vivekananda says it's a great defect to see defects actually. Vivekananda's exact words, weep that you yet see defects, because they are in you. That you might say, no, it's in that other person. That person is a crook. No. The fact that I see that crookedness in the other person, whatever might be the fact about the other person, that vulnerability is in me. That's why I recognize it. Vivekananda said, a baby with a bag of gold on the table in front, baby does not recognize it. If a thief comes and takes it, it's nothing to the baby. The value of that gold, the criminality of the thief, these are in our mind, not in the baby's mind. Nor in the saint's mind. That's why the saint sees good in everybody. We see that person is not good or has these defects. And I would find that senior monks sometimes they seem escapist to me. They are avoiding or they are not looking at the defects of the person. No, they see better than me. They're seeing through that to the divinity within. We are looking at the defects in the mask. We are looking at the mask. Here is a God's mask, here is a demon's mask. And we are caught up in that. To transcend that, one must overcome this analysis of the masks. It takes an effort because it's very tasty to criticize, to gossip. So, but that's why we pray. There is a prayer that we do. May we not accuse, complain, demand. Yes, to see the faults in others. May I not have faults in myself. My mind be clear. And may I not see the faults of others. Immediately I poison my mind when I see the faults of others. First of all, I have to see the difference between myself and others. Then this becomes useless. Immediately it becomes a theory then. And the more I am into that relative level of fault finding, I am this person, I am better than you, and you have these faults, the more this becomes impossible. Yes. Then he says, Deshakala Vishayati Vattiyat. Now a positive, not so positive, even here is also negative. Notice all these descriptions of Brahman, the first 3 lines, they are all not this, not this. What is Brahman? Beyond caste, beyond creed, beyond family, beyond lineage. It's all basically not this, not this. Beyond name and form, beyond the positive and negative associated with the names and forms. Then, Deshakala Vishayati Vattiyat. Whole of Vedanta has been put in this phrase. What does this mean? One word, limitless, infinite. Remember we did in the exercise, I am infinite. What is that infinite? Deshakala Vishayati Vattiyat. That which transcends all the limitations of space, time, object. What is the space limitation? That we are here and we are not outside. The moment we are here, we are not outside. We are limited. We are only here. We are not there. But Ridgely is inside and outside. But Ridgely is not beyond the gate. What is it? 101? What drive? Leggett Drive. So 101 Leggett Drive is up to that. It's not beyond the gate. It's all, but inside and outside is all New York. But when you go to the Atlantic Ocean, it's no longer New York. United States, there's inside, but there's also outside. And the world, there is in the world, but also beyond the world, the earth. These are limits of space. But the I am has no limit of space. Do you remember one of the things we claimed at least? That all space appears in the I am. It is to you the consciousness that space appears. And the next step is, it is in you, the consciousness, that space appears. I'm skipping over a lot. One can do detailed work here. Notice, if you say, no, space appears to me, it means like this. The paper is appearing to me. That means I am different from the paper. Paper is outside me, appearing to me. Is space like that? Is it outside me? Or appearing in me? See, this idea of outside, inside comes from the idea of the body. There is certainly something inside the body. All sorts of organs and stuff are inside the body. There's certainly a lot outside the body. In fact, everybody here is outside this body. The skin is a separator. In that sense, the paper is outside the body, no doubt about it. But as far as awareness is concerned, you're aware of the body and the paper, both are in awareness. Now one might say this is just a play in words. Is it? Look at your own experience. It's our tremendous body rootedness which makes that seem real and this awareness talk seem unreal. But that even the tremendous sense of body rootedness also depends on awareness. It is only in awareness, shielding or veiling our awareness, becoming body focused, that we think we are the body. And now that's outside, this is inside. But when we look back into the awareness, and then from there we look at the world, body, the paper, both are in awareness. Are you in Ridgely or is Ridgely in you? Ridgely is in you. Space is an appearance in consciousness. That example I keep giving about Bill, many times I've given that. In fact, a couple of days back, a couple came visiting from India, and Jim received them at the door. And then one of them, the lady whispered to me, "Is that Bill?" And I said, "Does he look 100 years old to you?" Jim would be offended. He said, 100 years old. I said, "No, that's Jim." So Bill said, "No, it is not true. The world is not in consciousness. Consciousness is in the world. The world exists. This room exists, Swami." I'm quoting Bill. "And then we come as conscious beings and experience." That's the common sense way of looking at it. Absolutely. And he says, "Swami, I can prove it to you. We will set up a camera here. And then both of us will leave the room. No conscious beings there in the room. We will come back and I will show you in the camera the pictures which show an empty room without any conscious being there. The room existed happily by itself without any consciousness." What is the answer? The answer is, Bill, in your consciousness, in your awareness, you made this claim that things exist outside awareness. It is in your awareness you set up the camera. It is in your awareness that you invited me to leave the room. It is in your awareness that we came back into the room. It is in your awareness that we saw the pictures in the camera. In your awareness we saw an empty room. At which point did you step outside awareness? And the eternal skeptic Bill had no reply. He didn't agree. He became a little grumpy. Space appears in consciousness, much like dream space. A good way of understanding this is dream space. In dream space, by dream space I mean, suppose you're walking through the rooms of an empty house in a dream. You're walking from one space to another space. And you feel, I am here, that is outside me. But when we wake up, the house, the space in the house, the space outside the house, you who was walking through the house, all will be in you, the dreaming mind. Space was in the mind, in the dream. Here the claim is not the mind. Slight distinction for those who are philosophically trained. If you said all of this is in the mind, right now, right here, it would be subjective idealism. But Advaita Vedanta is not that. Advaita Vedanta is saying all of it is in consciousness, different from the mind. Even the mind is in consciousness. So space appears in consciousness. And therefore not limited by space. Not limited by space, all pervading. Kala, time limitation. What's the time limitation? Beginning and end. I'm very, very aware that the clock is ticking. There's a time limitation. This session has a beginning and an end. Our lives have beginning and end, birth and death, creation and destruction, production and destruction. That's time limitation. But even time is an appearance in consciousness. Before the beginning of something, consciousness. At the beginning of something, consciousness. And after the beginning, when something is continuing, consciousness. When something comes to an end, consciousness. After the ending of that thing, consciousness. Consciousness is the witness of before birth, during birth, after birth, before death, during death, after death. Consciousness was not born with birth, consciousness will not die with death. These are very shocking conclusions, or shocking claims at least. Niels Bohr, who said, if you're not shocked by quantum theory, you have not understood quantum theory. There's a philosopher, Ankur Barua, who teaches in Cambridge University. He said he starts his class on Advaita Vedanta by, if you're not shocked by Advaita Vedanta, you have not understood Advaita Vedanta, at least what it's claiming. So, Vishaya means object. All things are objects to consciousness, and they are objects in consciousness. And these objects in consciousness do not constitute a second to consciousness. If they do not constitute a second, something apart from consciousness, they are nothing other than consciousness. Therefore, consciousness is non-dual. Let me sum it up. What is the Sanskrit phrase? Deshakala vishayati vattiyat, that which transcends limitations of space-time object. Since space appears in consciousness, consciousness transcends space. Therefore, consciousness is all-pervasive. Since time appears in consciousness, consciousness transcends, therefore, consciousness is eternal, in that sense. See, I want to make this distinction here. When we say all-pervasive, or when we say eternal, the sense that we get is something is here which sort of like smoke pervades everything. Not like that. It's the other way around. Because space appears in consciousness, therefore consciousness is all pervasive in space. So this table is made of wood. This table is nothing but wood, and therefore wood is all pervasive in this table. The space appears in consciousness. Space is nothing but consciousness, and therefore consciousness is all pervasive in. Time appears in consciousness. Time is nothing but consciousness, and therefore consciousness is eternal with respect to time. Otherwise, when we hear words like eternal, we think something which lasts a very long period of time. It's always there. Not like that. Rather, time itself appears in consciousness.
That's why it's beyond.
It's beyond time, therefore you can say eternal. Eternal, all-pervasive, non-dual. This is the meaning of all of this. Is implied by this one short Sanskrit phrase, very grand, Deshakala vishayati vattiyat. All of this can be summarized even shorter in a single phrase, a single word, Anantam, limitless. What is Anantam? I am is Anantam. Nobody has any objection to saying I am. Everybody feels that's the most basic fact of our lives. But our idea of I am is it's very limited thing. We'll say I am means I am, it's just a product of my brain, or it's just my mind, or not only or, and this I am is different in each one of us. Whereas Vedanta says the I am, indubitable I am, is infinite. It's not different, it's one I am. It's not produced or destroyed. It is limitless in space and time. That infinite I am is Brahman. What is this thing? Brahma tattvamasi, you are Brahman. Three things. Is it an emergency? No. All right.
Yes.
Not feeling, you should take rest. You're not feeling well, you should take rest. Oh, that's all right. Cramp is fine.
I was worried it was
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, cramp is fine. You can stand and listen. Yeah. It's a non-dual cramp.
You need to stretch it.
So 3 things. Do this now, in the next 3 minutes or so. Brahman does not have caste or race. It does not have pride of family or descent or lineage. It does not have belief in this creed or that creed. Brahman. Brahman is free of, transcends name and form. Brahman does not have these advantages and disadvantages, guna dosha, of various names and forms. Brahman is not limited to space, time, object. Therefore, Brahman is all-pervading, eternal and non-dual. One. This is one. Now go deeper. That Brahman is consciousness. It is the limitless awareness. Therefore, consciousness, now say these things, say to yourself, consciousness, notice, consciousness does not have a race. Consciousness does not have a gender or a caste. Consciousness does not have a creed. Notice, it's impersonal. You don't even have to be Hindu to believe in this or to realize this. It's completely impersonal. Tomorrow we discover aliens. I saw news that the first time they've discovered life in possibly in a planet 120 light years from here. So you can teach Advaita to them. But not anything else, because any other personal religion will make no sense to aliens who have come entirely different forms and sensibilities. But existence, they exist, whoever they are. And that existence will be an aware existence. So, it is consciousness which does not have caste, gender, race. Consciousness does not have any creed. You can be comfortable with any creed. In fact, it is. In the world, we see Christians, Muslims, Hindus, Jains, atheists, Taoists. And they always have been. Consciousness obviously is comfortable with all of them. Can believe in all of them, can disbelieve in all of them. Consciousness does not by itself have any creed. It does not have family. It does not have lineage, pride of lineage. It does not have a name or a form. It does not have any particular advantage or disadvantage. Or in fact, all advantages and disadvantages belong to consciousness, but consciousness itself doesn't have any. It is free of, it is transcends space, time, object limitations. Consciousness. That's second. You might think, what was the first? Brahman. Second, consciousness. Apply all this to consciousness. Third, most important, apply all this to I am. Here you will see. Notice if there is any resistance in your mind. Brahman, we are very happy. Yes, Brahman is limitless existence, consciousness, bliss. The moment I say, but if I say, I am eternal, I would like, you might say, I would like to be, but I am all-pervading. Doesn't seem at all like that. I am non-dual. There's nothing else except I am. See the resistance. Why does the resistance come? It's already a fact. Attachment. This is a strong bondage of the body with the I am. I am this body. How can I be eternal? I am this body. How can I be all-pervasive? I am this body. How can there be nothing else except me? Notice the resistance. And good that resistance is there. If no resistance is there, either we have not understood at all or we are enlightened. Jnani, Brahma Jnani. If there is resistance, those points of resistance are the points of what? Because you are convinced of it now. We understand this. We are at least partly sold on this, if not fully convinced. In that case, notice the points of resistance. I have no caste. There is a sense in which you have a caste or a gender or a race. But this I am has no caste. I have no caste. I have no creed. I have no family. I have no descent, lineage. I have no form. I have means I am has no form. I am has no name or label. I am has no particular excellencies or defects. I am is eternal. I am is all-pervasive. I am is non-dual. Whatever exists is projection of the I am. I'm quoting Vivekananda. Last night I was reading. Vivekananda says, now notice, you will immediately, if you are able to check, three things Vivekananda says. One, God is the most known of all, for it is all that we know. Does it make sense now? Statement one. Statement two, the I am is indisputable in all beings. Statement two. The I am is indisputable in all beings. Everything that exists is a projection of the I am. Statement 3. It's literally what we are studying here. He's put it in plain English, in forceful English, and I wish we could have heard it from his lips. A tremendous force is transmitted through that. Brahma tattvamasi bhavayatmani. In this way, contemplate. Do non-dual meditation, that I am Brahman. The teaching of the teacher is tattvamasi, you are that. What should be our response? Not tattvamasi. Then it will go back, yes, I am Brahman. Otherwise it will go back and forth. The teacher says you are that and we say you are that. No. Our response is I am Brahman. Aham Brahmasmi. Alright. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu. Question, you have to come here. And then you had a question also.
I have a question.
Yes, wait, one by one.
So, Swamiji, the exercise that you had taken us through in the morning, it's similar to retrospectively thinking of sleep when we are absent, but consciousness is there. Even now, if you are mindless, like what Rama said, maybe I can drop my mind, but in order to know what happened, I have to bring my mind back.
Sure.
If I do not invoke my mind,
Yeah.
it's mindless absence. Where is the infinity?
Yes. Right. Notice what the word used in Sanskrit for infinity. Anantam. No limit. There, is there a limit? No. No limit at all. When we use the word infinity, we mean something very great, spreading out everywhere. A big deal. That's what we mean by infinity. No. The technical meaning of infinity is no limit. No limit. You don't find the top or bottom of it. You don't find the beginning or end of it. You don't find anything apart from it. Isn't it true there?
It's true, but I need my mind to...
All right. Few things here. I need my mind to appreciate that, to enjoy that. Yes, it's a very good point. It's a very good point. But what's the problem there? You have the mind. But you are not there. But there is here also. That consciousness which is limitless, which you have now when you reflect back upon it with your mind, that is the limitless. That limitless consciousness, is it here now? Is it still limitless? Apparently no, but really? Really limitless. And now you can use the mind to appreciate it, have fun, knock yourself out. Now there are other questions here, but the crucial question I must ask, must listen to this. This is important in Vedanta at this point. This demand, I am the witness consciousness. No universe, no body, no sensations, no sense organs, no thoughts, no emotions, no intellect, no understanding, no non-understanding, no waking, dreaming, sleeping, just that. Not even the capacity to think or say, just that. At that point, will that have a question? Oh, I can't appreciate myself. No. Now when we come back and the mind kicks in, the mind's complaint is, hey, you can't do without me. Whose question is that? I want to appreciate it. I want to savor it. And that is useless. I can't savor it. It's the mind. Nothing wrong in it. The poor mind is feeling left out. But one must carefully understand it's the mind's question. And there is a mischief hidden there. The mischief is the mind immediately devalues that and revalues itself. It's only in my presence the glory is realized. That by itself has no glory. It's just blank, just empty. There's a time bomb hidden there. If you give in to that, what will happen is you again revalue the mind. You depend on the mind's stamp of approval. Once you do that, the mind will say, all right, now let's do Advaitic thinking. And it's time. Shouldn't we go for lunch? Then we go for lunch. Then this dish is good, that dish is not good. The mind is like Shankaracharya says, like a ball dropped from the top of the stairs. It quickly bounces on you. Very quickly you'll know you're at the bottom of the stairs again. It's extremely mischievous. It's your great friend when it's controlled. When it's not controlled, it's your greatest enemy. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. So, there's nothing wrong with that question as long as you know what's behind it. It is not my demand. It is your demand, mind. All right, I will give you the relishing of the infinite. Here is the infinite. Now quieten yourself, purify yourself, settle in meditation. Relish the infinite to your as much as you want. Taste the sugar. But I am the sugar. I am not the taster of the sugar. The mind wants to taste the sugar, retaining a difference. Good. Enjoy yourself. Now there are some associated questions. One question would be, yes, but you are talking about non-duality. Isn't there a dependence on the mind for this non-duality? Now this dependence on the mind, if you say mind, you're dependent on the mind for the appreciation of this non-duality, of this limitless consciousness, in that case, it is Sankhya. Sankhya says that, yes, you're limitless consciousness, but everything else is provided by nature. There is a real world out there, and there's a real body, and there's a real prana, and the real mind, all provided by nature. And in this real mind, the highest use of this real body mind is to realize yourself as pure consciousness. Nature provides the mirror, and you look at yourself in the mirror and enjoy your face in the mirror. But the mirror is provided by nature. Without nature, you can't see your face. That is Sankhya. What does Advaita say? No. That nature is your nature. That universe is your universe. That mind is your mind. It's not a second reality apart from you. It's your glory. Yes. This is the difference between Prakriti and Maya. Maya is the power of Brahman. Prakriti is different from Purusha. They interact, but they are independently different. Whereas, since Maya is nothing other than Brahman, the power of Brahman, its manifestations, including mind, are also nothing other than Brahman. You don't depend on the mind depends on you. Mind depends on you for its existence, for its illumination. Yeah. Yeah. Always, whenever a doubt comes, after some clarity, a series of doubts will come. Always notice one thing common to all the doubts. They are all doubts of the mind. And if you drop the mind, no doubts are there. And retain that no doubt, no problem nature in the middle of the functioning of the mind. That is Jivan Mukti. If you can notice it here, first of all, and notice it in Times Square, then you're fine. If you can notice it in the depths of meditation in an ashram and in the middle of Kurukshetra battlefield, then you're fine. Nothing can shake you after that. There are sadhus, good sadhus in the high Himalayas who don't want to come down below a certain altitude. Say, Maha Vikshep hoga Mahatma ji. Your mind will be disturbed if you go down into the plains of India. Only when you remain above a certain 5,000 feet, then non-duality is possible. One sadhu, I remember, he was trying to attain samadhi. So he came to me. Aapka mission to bahut, I'm using Hindi, the original words. Aapka mission to bahut bada hai, your Ramakrishna mission is big. I said, yes. To bahut samadhi wala Mahatma hoga udhar. There will be a lot of monks who have experienced samadhi. Now I can't run down my own order, so I sort of scratched my head and said, there are some. And then, since it's been recorded, I will not take the name. So I said, Ek bolo, tell me someone who knows samadhi, who has experienced samadhi. So I told a name, whom I know. And then to my horror, he said, Main jaunga unse seekhne. I will go to him to learn. I thought, oh my God, that's a very mild and gentle monk. If suddenly somebody with dreadlocks and a trident turns up wearing a loincloth and tells him, Sarvapriyananda has told me your name, you teach me samadhi. instead of sitting, he doesn't used to sitting on chairs. He'll probably jump on the table and sit in front of the Swami and say, teach me some Samadhi. And in the lawns of Belur Math, he might light his sacred fire. And until you teach me Samadhi, I'm not moving from here. I thought, oh no, I've dug myself into a hole. And then he said, where is this monk? It was very dramatic. I said, he is in Belur Math. Where is Belur Math? They understand Ganga Sagar. They understand Ganga, where the Ganga flows. The origin of the Ganga is Gangotri, where I was. And where the Ganga meets the ocean is Ganga Sagar. So in the confluence of Ganga, the delta in the ocean. I said, the monastery is near the Ganga Sagar. Then his face fell. He says, वहाँ तो विक्षेप है, नहीं जाएंगे हम. There, my mind will be disturbed if I go down below. I can't go. So it's not like that. We should be perfectly in comfort in the heights of the Himalayas, in the burning plains of the Gangetic plains, in Manhattan, in Ridgely, everywhere. Not easy, but this is the beauty of it. This is the training ground where you make your non-duality natural, effortless, always available.
So that's why, meditation with open eyes is helpful.
Yes.
I need a simple clarification, Swamiji, about the I am. So before enlightenment, like in ignorance, I am is referring to something like body, mind.
Yes.
Is it the same I am that refers to Brahman?
Good question. In fact, exactly this question was asked to a sadhu. I saw this online. There's a very great Vaishnava sadhu, Hit Premanandaji.
Repeat the question.
The I am we say in ignorance. When we say I am in ignorance, we point to body, mind, and the personality and the ego. Is it the same I am that we are talking about when we say I am Brahman?
The question is this. Right now we can all say I am. I am Sarvapriyananda. Very naturally I can say I am. I am Sarvapriyananda. Is it the same I am which says I am Brahman? Can I say that? I mean, how does it work? Is it the same I am? I understand what is I am when I am saying I am Sarvapriyananda. I don't quite understand the I am of I am Brahman. Is it the same I am? So this question, exactly this question I heard, it was asked to a great Vaishnava sadhu in Vrindavan called Hit Premanandaji, who used to be a non-dualist earlier. Now he is a devotee of Radha, of Krishna and Radha. So he was asked this question, exactly this question. And his answer was straight. Because he has learned non-duality very well. His answer was straight. Yes, but if you do not add anything to the I am, just the I am, that I am, you can call it Brahman. But there lies the whole thing. We are willy-nilly, involuntarily, instinctively adding lots and lots to the I am. Adding means limiting. Yes. Who else was? Somebody else had a question. Bill had a question, yes.
Oh, I'm
and then
so
you had
sorry.
first after
No,
you.
this because it's in corollary with
Yes.
what she's asked. So when you say I am, in this verse that you just taught us, the whole idea of the not this is because it's all identification of how we identify with the body.
Yes.
Like when you say I'm this caste, this creed, this lineage, etc. That's all bodily identification.
And mental also.
Okay. So, but when you have to identify with something that has no qualities, how do you even...
By seeing, you notice, yes.
So that's where the concept of Brahman, is... how do you identify yourself
It's
as
like
that
this.
I am, when there are nothing by which you can identify...
It's like this. It's like this. I identified as a teenager. I identified as a young person. I identified as a middle-aged person. The teenager is not the young person. The young person is not the middle-aged person. But I am the same. What is that I? Is it a teenager?
No longer.
Then it changed. So it was a teenager earlier. It identified as a teenager. But when it identified as a teenager, was it itself a teenager? If that I am is by nature a teenager, it could never become a middle-aged person or nor an old person. you see closely what it is. It's a conscious entity which looked at the teenage body and naturally said, I am this. So I am a teenager. The body changed into middle-aged. And so that conscious entity by itself said, I am middle-aged. But apart from the teenage body and the middle-aged body, what is that I am? Is it a teenage body, or is it teenage, or is it middle-aged? Nothing. No, not at all. What is that I am in deep sleep? Is it a teenager? Is it a middle-aged? Is it a man? Is it a woman? Is it some caste or a race? No. You have to look into what I am. So the I am by itself is impersonal. That's what's being pointed out. Again, having looked at it, what use is it? Because all the time you have to function through identifications anyway. Once having looked at it, knowing that's what I am, then put on as many identifications as you like. There'll be no harm. In fact, you have to put on some identification to function in the world, but you know you're free. That's why I say, and I was thinking, I'm automatically suspicious of spiritual places because they are special. Brahman is not special. Brahman is the most common. In the worst places also it's the same Brahman. One must take full advantage of the spiritual place and reject it thoroughly afterwards. What it can give you, it must be entirely your own, in no way dependent on it. That peace, that joy, that stillness, centeredness, it's your real nature. You should have it in the middle of Times Square also. You should have it in a moment of meditation. You should have it in the middle of a quarrel. Yes. Absolutely. One sadhu says, I went to meet Swami Premananda. He became a monk later on. And many young men were attracted by the love of Swami Premananda. But he was very strict. Especially after you became a monk, he would scold like left and right. And so he says, I noticed Premananda was looking and talking so sweetly to me. Now, he was very fair. He turned to the brahmachari who had done something wrong, and his face became red and started shouting at him. And I thought, oh, this sadhu has anger also. The moment I thought that, Premananda turned towards me, his face was all sweet and smiling, and spoke to me for a minute. I was startled. Again he turned back, his face became red and started scolding. This is the sign of a Jivan Mukta. I must first abstract myself, the I am, from all its identifications and see it forward. It is something apart from the identifications. And then plunge back into it. Swami Vivekananda in Inspired Talks, he says, having reached absolute, you can plunge back into duality, but reserve for yourself the ability to spring back into the absolute at all times. Yes, please come.
I want to do it closer to this. Come closer to this and speak into that.
In talking about time, you noted that before birth we exist, during life we exist, and after death we exist. That seems like an empirical assertion, subject to verification, an experimental. I hope I have consciousness after my death, but right now, on the basis of your logic, it seems like a good probability, but I want verification.
Yes. Good question. Many of the things which I said, they seem like major metaphysical claims, and they are. They require heavy-duty like philosophical machinery to argue for them, and you can never come to a real conclusion about them. But here also, let me turn the question around. Why would you think that after death you will not be conscious? And if I put it that way, you'll immediately see we have grounded consciousness in the body. Clearly after death the body dies, and so this is an implicit suggestion in the back of my mind. Then the question is the body generating consciousness?
And of course, Advaita is claiming it is not.
Yes.
And I would like to believe that, but right now I still have faith in my body. And can I argue it away just by logic?
Yes, logic, I can give plenty of logic if it will help. Here is one. I'm borrowing this from Bernardo Castro. So he says, the utter ridiculousness of the materialist position. He starts in 4 steps. He says, Step 1, I am conscious. Nobody doubts it. Nobody. Materialist, idealist, spiritual, non-spiritual, nobody doubts it. You can't. To doubt it, to assert that is that assert you are conscious. Right. So I am conscious, nobody doubts. Second step, we are conscious, other people are conscious. Now you have already relaxed the logic a little bit, the rigor a little bit. On good grounds. On good grounds. What is the best ground for arguing that other people are conscious, they are not zombies? The logic is this. It has happened once, so it's possible it can happen again. It's happened once where? In my case. That I can't doubt. So there are similar looking cases around. It's quite possible that they are conscious, they are not zombies. Logic is a little weak there, but it is not unreasonable. Then third step, much weaker logic. There exists this world, including the bodies of these people, my body and all these external world. There exists this world outside consciousness, beyond consciousness. A real world existing independent of consciousness. This is atrocious because there is literally no way of proving it. This is what I think Kant or somebody called the standing scandal of philosophy, that we can't really go beyond the idealist position. We have to use a strong amount of common sense to say the material world is independent and real apart from consciousness. So, the third step is to assert the existence of a universe beyond consciousness, which can never be proven, because everything, all proof has to be done in consciousness, in and through consciousness, to consciousness. But no, this world exists beyond consciousness. Weak. Third position. The fourth one is awful. It says, this so-called world existing independent of consciousness produces consciousness. This is utterly atrocious, according to Bernardo Castro. If you put it that way, it seems common sense to us. Because we start the other way around. We start with the world. Then through evolution and all, living beings come up. Then living beings evolve to complex nervous systems and brains. All of which there is evidence for that. But that brain and nervous system produces consciousness, which now becomes aware of the world. That's the story we've been fed. And all of it is justifiable up to the last moment where you say brain produces consciousness. Yeah. So Vedanta says, no. Consciousness is primary. There's this philosopher, I went to UT Austin, there's this philosopher, Galen Strawson. He wrote this article in New York Times. I mentioned it a number of times. He says, hard problem of matter. He says, there is no hard problem of consciousness. We are all conscious. And then we assume consciousness is produced by brains. And then we can't explain how brains produce consciousness. Hence, hard problem of consciousness. He says, no, the other way around. We are conscious, there's no doubt about it. Matter appears to us in consciousness. And therefore, the question is, what is matter? And to investigate that, we need physics. And physics is showing us day by day that matter is becoming more and more mysterious. Matter is becoming in mind. Mind is nothing other than consciousness. Matter is devolving back into consciousness. And this is the broad line which I think modern cutting edge physics is also taking. Broadly speaking. We are not there yet. All right, let's call it a day. Not a day, this one.
Morning.
I've already done the peace chant. So we will go on with these verses in the second. The heavy lifting has been done. The rest of it should be easy. In fact, you can go home now also. There's nothing new to be added. But don't go home. It's a brilliant day, beautiful day. Sure, let's go.